We're joined by Nick Watson with the Seychelles Islands. Nick, tell us what's new and maybe even different at the Seychelles Islands nowadays.
Well, actually, in Seychelles, we've just launched a new brand positioning, which is called the Seychelles Islands Another World. Most people, when they think of Seychelles, they actually think it's a one-dimensional beach destination, just sun, sea, and sand. And so part of this new brand concept is to try to explain that there's a lot more to Seychelles. Number one, we are basically the only granitic islands in the world, meaning we're the most ancient islands in the world. It's the only island formation of its kind, in that the islands represent the highest peaks of a submerged continent that drifted away in the time of Gondwana, back when it was just one supercontinent. And so because of that, it evolved in isolation for millions of years with unique species found nowhere else, unique birds, unique marine life. And so this is the kind of things that we're really trying to sort of focus on with our new concept. We want to be able to tell people that there's a lot more to do and see, and it's also a must-see destination in terms of it's so unique. It's one of those places that before at least one time in your life you need to go see this place.
And what are some of those experiences?
Well, because the islands, number one, are fairly close together, in close proximity, and because they are so diverse, what's great about Seychelles is you can see a lot in a very short amount of time. So a lot of times what people will do when they come to Seychelles, they'll stay maybe on 3 different islands over a 10-day stay. But in addition to that, they have the opportunity to visit other islands nearby for snorkeling excursions, diving. Also, some of the mountainous islands that we have, the 3 main islands are quite mountainous, and so there's lots of mountain trails that you can hike up these mountains, and there's also trails you can take that actually take you to a secluded beach. And because the islands are so small, these are sort of easy to get to and fairly easy to take part in.
When you say small, like how long would it take to walk around it or walk across it?
Well, not that small. At least Mahe, the main island, which has 70,000 of the 80,000 people of Seychelles. It's about 17 miles long and about 5 miles wide at the longest points. So that's the largest island, and to drive around that island, it will probably take you in the neighborhood of 2.5 hours. Then there are some smaller islands, for instance, small island, one resort islands, that you can walk around in 2 hours, like some of the flat coral islands, which are very unique and very isolated.
Which are some of the hotel brands there, and what kind of products are they offering?
Well, we've actually seen an influx of some new brands, very well-established brands. Hilton is a recent introduction, Hilton Seychelles North Home Resort and Spa, which actually, the North Home is one of our oldest resorts, but it's been renovated now, and Hilton's taken over the management. We also, in the coming years, will have Shangri-La as a new addition. We also have Four Seasons that will be coming online very soon. In addition, current hotels, we have Beachcomber, the Mauritian brand. Beachcomber is on Saint-Anne Island in the Seychelles. And we also have Constance Hotels, which has actually one of the first 5-star hotel that opened up was Lemuria in 2000. And it's still going very strong. It's still a very upmarket hotel, very popular.
Did I hear Banyan Tree?
Banyan Tree also has a presence in Seychelles. They have a resort in the south of Mahe in a very beautiful beach called Intendance. And they've actually just finished a sort of an add-on to their property, which has sort of large-scale, very upmarket 2-bedroom villas, which is a great new addition to their hotel, to the property.
Yes, I heard that those kind of properties are so popular nowadays, regardless of the price tag. People are buying it for all the rooms and closing it up for private parties.
Well, there are fewer hotels like that where you can definitely do that. There's Round Island Praslin, which is a very new resort that opened last year in October. It's just 3 large 2-bedroom villas and then 1 3-bedroom master villa. And yeah, you have the option to rent out the entire island for you and your family or your guests. And it's not cheap, obviously, but you're getting what you pay for in terms of the service. You get the complete island to yourself, and very very upmarket range properties. We also have in addition to that end, obviously we have a lot of upmarket hotels. We have some of the finest luxury hotels in the world. But we also, one thing that people don't realize a lot of times is that you can come to Seychelles on an affordable holiday. Most people don't expect that because we do have the reputation of being very exclusive. But it is possible to come to Seychelles on $100 a night, $70 a night. One thing the Seychelles Tourism Board has done is start packaging our small hotels and guest houses under one brand. Part of the problem previously was that tour operators wouldn't want to sell these kinds of properties because there wasn't much consistency. It was a very fragmented segment of the market. But now, with this new brand, we've incentivized these hotels to meet international standards. And once they do that, they can be part of this package brand called Seychelles Secrets. The website is seychellessecrets.com. And basically, it allows clients to come on a budget and still afford to be able to come in a very, very nice hotel that meets international standards.
How is air accessibility nowadays?
Well, air access, basically we have Air Seychelles operates two 767s, and they operate London. They operate from London, Paris, in conjunction with Air France. They also operate from Singapore and South Africa, and Italy as well. We also have Emirates and Qatar Airways that service Dubai and Doha respectively, as well as Condor from Germany.
Any cruise lines stopping?
Well, cruise lines actually had sort of fallen by the wayside for a period, but now we're seeing they're coming back now, adding Seychelles back to their program. So it's something that's coming back in a fairly big way during the particular season, yes.
And how do you deal with, I mean, what size are the cruise ships that were stopping by or might be coming back?
Well, we're talking about, I mean, Seychelles needs to be able to accommodate the smaller range cruise ships. The larger ones probably aren't appropriate for the destination just because it's a very small destination and ecologically sensitive. So we're talking of the smaller range cruise ships.
Well, Seychelles may be known not only for being upmarket destinations, rather sustainable tourism, green type of a feel to it. At least that would be the general sense I had. But there are some contrasts that I'd like to ask you about. Last year, there was some organization that really got on Hilton's case about digging up palm trees or something from one part of the island and moving it to where they are now. That's one aspect. Of course, they say they didn't do that and don't know who did or not. On the other hand, banyan tree, one of the things they did was actually to create a turtle preserve, if I understand, in Seychelles. Right. So address the challenges you have, address the government's position and tourist office's position on that, please.
Well, first of all, to be able to introduce a project in Seychelles, it's subject to very, very strict regulations. In fact, 50% of the Seychelles landmass is actually protected as a reserve. And then outside of that, obviously, there are other environmental concerns that the Ministry of Environment takes very seriously. For instance, there's sort of a long-standing rule that you can't build higher than the palm tree. And so this sort of helps to sort of integrate the hotels into the environment. And another thing that the Ministry of Environment and together with STB and the trade and the hotels have worked on is sort of really encouraging these hotels, once they come in, they have to be responsible for the environment and the surrounds. So what you see is a lot of hotels have taken this to heart and are really starting to focus on conservation and environment programs. Some hotels even, there are some hotels in Seychelles, Cuisine, for instance, Cuisine Island, which is just 4 chalets, very upmarket, but in fact it's actually a not-for-profit project in that all the money that's generated for that island through the hotel is poured back into the conservation of the island. So they run turtle programs, they run sort of reforestation or rehabilitation projects to get all the endemic species back on the island, whichever ones that weren't there before. And so this is something that, number one, it's a great attraction for tourists, and so we'll definitely keep encouraging that kind of participation among tourists to be able to get involved in conservation activities, and the tourists, I think, find it worth their while as well.
Thank you very much, Nick.